welcome back to the IROC Business With Confidence podcast, your go-to resource for monetizing your passions while keeping your budget in mind. I'm your host, Corey Fonda Foster, transformational speaker, certified business coach, trainer, and CEO of IROC Marketable Business Solutions. In today's episode, we have a remarkable guest joining us. Please welcome Jocelyn Michelle Reaves, aka the Business Alchemist, a healthcare executive turned entrepreneur, CEO, and show host. With a passion for helping people actualize their potential and driving transformative change, Jocelyn founded Fireside Insights and CoachedIT to empower individuals and businesses in reaching their career goals. Jocelyn's dynamic approach, combined with her experience in business operations and consulting for reputable companies such as CVS Health, GFK, Steward Health Network, Boston Public Schools, and the University of Illinois at Chicago, to name a few, allows her to make a profound impact on both a personal and professional level. Our discussion today encompasses several important topics: getting out of hustle culture, habit management, mindset development, and building great leaders and entrepreneurs. Jocelyn will share her insights and strategies on how to break free from the unhealthy hustle mentality, effectively manage habits for success, cultivate a powerful mindset, and develop leadership qualities that drive business growth. With her company's Fireside Insights, providing strategic and operational support to businesses, and CoachedIT, connecting individuals with qualified coaches and resources, Jocelyn is dedicated to empowering others. She also hosts Confidence Daily, a digital lifestyle magazine focused on helping women cultivate confidence in every aspect of self-care. All right, hello everyone. We are back here and I am super excited to have our guest, Jocelyn Michelle here, the AKA the Business Alchemist in the house. I'm super excited for her to be talking to us today. I know we're going to have a deep dive into all things mindset, habit management, and more, but I want to give you a second to introduce yourself to the crew. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Michelle Reaves, and I'm the founder of Fireside Insights, the Connection Consultancy, as well as the creator of Confidence Daily, an online magazine and community for women.
Awesome. I love it. She's so short and sweet. All right. Well, one thing I can tell you is I'm excited because when I read your bio, it really resonated with me because I was like, is this my bio? We both come from the healthcare field. We wanted to help people unlock their full potential. And then we went into entrepreneurship. So tell us a little bit about what made you leave your 9-to-5 and then embark on this new journey of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that was a really scary journey, if I can be honest with you. That golden handcuff is no joke. And so I had worked my way up into an executive level position by the age of 25. And from the outside looking in, things were fantastic. Like the title, the type of work that I was doing, the company that I was with, the paycheck even, but I felt perpetually unfulfilled. And so I wanted to take a step back and really look at what does meaningful work look like for me? Because at that point, I'd had moments that were really fun in my current jobs, and I'd felt inspired in certain places and spaces, but ultimately was not feeling like I was doing work that I was called to. I was checking off boxes and I was doing the work because I was good at it. And I ultimately decided to leave during the height of the pandemic. So I want to say it was July of 2020, but it was the summer of 2020. And I left to work full-time on my consultancy, Fireside Insights. I'd already had a couple of clients working in the healthcare space there. And at the same time, doing that work, wanted to do more with life coaching. At that point, I'd started to coach some of my consulting clients to help them with their mindset, roadblocks, and issues, barriers. And like, I can't reach everyone. So how do I do this? And so at that time, I founded CoachedIT as well to connect life and business coaches with entrepreneurs.
Oh, that is amazing. And I loved how you talked about the fact that you were already doing the work. And I think most people who switch into entrepreneurship have already been doing the work, whether they've been getting paid for it or not. Most of them have not. But I love that you made that shift. And I love that you talk about mindset. So tell us, what were some of the things that you encountered early on? I know for me, one of my biggest things when I made the shift was imposter syndrome. Like, who is going to listen to little old me? Who is going to pay me for the things that I'm skilled at and passionate about? So did you encounter any imposter syndrome when you made your shift?
Absolutely. One of the things I say about confidence in general, whether you're an entrepreneur or otherwise, is that it is a journey, not a destination. And so there's always areas that we could work on or become better at. And there's always this little whisper that we have to kind of be like, nope, this is not me. This doesn't serve me, and kind of get ourselves out of that. But when I was first starting out, I was afraid to charge my worth. And so I was willing to do a little more for a little less, just because I was like, I don't know who's going to pay this. And I was also really, nervous about, like, I knew I could close a deal. I'd worked in sales before. And so for me, that wasn't the issue. It was just more so, how do I make the transition from being like working up the ladder in healthcare with corporations to now owning my own company? I haven't had, all of these decades of experience like some others had. I was very young when I stepped out to do this. So how do I kind of separate myself and, prove my value add? And I had to realize that, like you just said, Corey, I'd done a lot of the work, one. And two, there's a reason why I was able to climb the ladder so quickly, is because I had the background and the skills that it takes. And I think sometimes it really just is, look at your history, look at the facts, and that'll give you all of the confidence you need to break out of that imposter shell. There's two voices that we have, and there's the voice of encouragement and positivity, and that's great. And there's also the voice that's meant to keep us safe. And in certain circumstances, that's amazing, but in others, it actually hinders our progress. So crushing that internal imposter, as I like to call it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I have had so many instances where, with myself or with my clients, where we have that little, almost like the devil on your shoulder telling you can't do this. Who do you think you are? And I love that you mentioned that you had to go through it. I think people need to hear the realness, because sometimes they think, they see us where we are now, right? And they're like, oh my God, I could never, or they never went through this. And it's like, we all do, no matter how great of a business person you may be now, right? As good as a speaker as you are now, good as a salesperson as you are now, there was always a time when you doubted yourself for one reason or another. And I love also that you talked about kind of leaving no experience behind. Like I said, many of us have done this work back in the day, whether it's for friends, family, in a different capacity, but we do have the skills. And it doesn't matter if we have the degrees, or it doesn't matter if we've gotten paid thousands for it. What do we want to do? What kind of impact do we want to make? And then charging accordingly for those things. So I love that you kind of mentioned all those things. So now one thing I want to talk about, because I'm really intrigued, is about your habit management things that you are really known for. Because I think a lot of us have habits, good or bad, but a lot of times they're just all over the place. So when you work with clients, how do you help them manage what they're doing in their business so that they can get the results that they're looking for?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think regardless of the type of client or what they're interested in, I think we have to start with understanding, who are we and where do we want to be? Who do we want to be? And then being really real and honest, yet showing grace to ourselves about what that gap is. And then identifying ourselves with that future version, who I want to become. So if you have a goal, for example, of becoming an entrepreneur who, I don't know, I know you work in coaching, so I'll use coaching as an example. So if your dream is to become a coach who hits 10K a month, and you would like to work in this particular niche, you need to embody that and do what that person would do. What does the you that has that do? Because you don't get there by being stagnant or having the same habits, but by understanding and getting a really clear vision of what you would do while you're in that situation. then you can walk it back to, all right, this is my day. This is my routine. How can I become just a little bit better? How can I make incremental improvements to my daily routine, my eating habits, my everything, essentially, to be able to get there, because it's all connected. And so I use a mind, body, and spirit approach to habit generation and tracking, because it's all interconnected, it's all intertwined, and we can't, separate the emotions from the physical, from the actual actions. And so getting really clear about, one, what does it look like? Two, what does it take? And then three, how do I sustain that? So clarity, consciousness, confidence.
Oh my gosh, the 3 C's. I like that. I really enjoy listening to you, because I see, like I said, I see so much of myself in the things that you're saying, because when you talked about kind of like the habits, right? A lot of times we get to the place where we're like, if I go work for somebody else, right? I do my 9 to 5, they tell me what to do, I'll do it. And it's easier because you're getting told what to do. But when you become an entrepreneur, you realize you don't necessarily have the discipline that you thought you had, right?
Oh my gosh. Not at all.
Yeah, like I could go take a nap. I took a nap yesterday in the middle of the day. Didn't feel bad about it at all. But yeah, taking naps, you put off things. You don't have systems telling you have to do this. Maybe you take an early lunch. I mean, the list goes on. And you really have to discipline yourself as an entrepreneur to say, if I worked hard for these people and made them all this money, then I have to treat my business the same way. So often, especially new entrepreneurs, they're treating their businesses like hobbies, but calling them businesses. They're like, I'm going to be rich, but I'm going to work 2 hours a day and spend half my year in Costa Rica. It's like, maybe one day, one day.
And I think we talk so much about manifestation. I think that's where people get it kind of twisted. It's like, oh, I'm going to manifest this life. But I think one of the core principles or core steps in that's missing is the action piece. So you visualize, like you have your goals, you visualize what that looks like and what it means, how you feel, who's there, what you're doing, how long you're doing it for. And then you have to take inspired action and do your part. And the crazy thing about manifestation is, like, yes, it's true. You don't have to do everything. There's these opportunities that just come. And I think Napoleon Hill said this, or Andrew Carnegie, I can't remember which one, but as you start to act and as you get that ball in motion, that's when you begin to attract the opportunities and things to you. But if you're stagnant, so are the opportunities. And so you have to put it in motion. And I think that, it is so tempting to just go and take that extra nap, or be like, I have the issue of, taking all of these like walks around the block, which it's so important to like get up and get fresh air and move your legs. But like, you don't need like 5 walks a day. You should probably sit down and that's what you've done. And so just understanding too, your body and mind type, and Ayurveda, we call this your dosha, to understand like what times of day you're going to be most productive and most functional, and make use of time that way. And then another tool you can use is time blocking. If you know you want to get things done, a certain activity you do better, you concentrate better in the morning, get all of those done in the morning and put time on your calendars to do it. No meetings, no excuses. And put everything, every task needs to go on your calendar so that you're holding yourself accountable, and it's not just an item on your to-do list that you can save for tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to have to deep dive. Like, I'm about to go off script, instead of looking at my notes here, because that was so triggering. She was like, yeah, the walks, we do dance parties over here. We literally put on
every 5 minutes.
Yes, we put on a song, and me, my assistant, the kids, the dog, the cat, we're in here just like getting it. And so I get the multiple breaks a day. And granted, we know people listening, I definitely get, especially as entrepreneurs who work from home, you got to get up and move around. Don't stay stagnant. But like you said, you can't do that all day, because a lot of times we think that we are doing something good, but really we're just kind of procrastinating. That's what we're doing. We got a task coming up we don't really want to do. And we're like, hey, I'm going to go for a walk because my body needs to move. And it's like, or you need to go and send that email. You need to prepare that proposal.
And if you're sending emails, set a time of day to send emails, and like tell yourself, I don't have to respond to this until it's that time. So like, I like morning and night. And other than that, unless it's something urgent from like my agent or publicist, I'm not going to go and touch it until that time of day, and give yourself that grace. Or if like, Thursdays are when I write the blogs, or Tuesdays are when I do this, you have that time to do like the mundane and the interesting. Schedule both of them, and like it's not hanging over your head. You do the boring stuff on Tuesday mornings. I don't know, but you make time.
It makes sense, because I literally just was speaking with my accountability partner a couple of weeks ago, and he says you need focus time, and it's literally a block of my schedule for me to just focus on working on the business, not in the business, because it was getting pushed to the back burner. So now it's in my schedule, that focus time to do that. I just added education time, because I realized I wasn't getting the chance to read books and I wanted to learn more. I wasn't able to go through coursework, and so I put that on my schedule. So it's not just work, right? It's also all the pieces of your life. And one thing that you kind of mentioned earlier that I really wanted to pop back into is the idea of doing tasks when you're like good at doing the task. Because I used to hear from coaches, you got to get up early. I don't do early because my brain doesn't function early. And so I would pull myself out of bed, at the crack of dawn, and then spend the first 3-4 hours struggling to do anything. Whereas if I stay up late, I'm super creative, my house is quiet, and I can get a lot of work done. So what is your thoughts around like, what is the best time to work?
It's all on an individual level, right? But, and I don't want to get too deep into Ayurveda, especially because we're all so different. But for me, because so Ayurveda, we have Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, and those are the 3 different like mind body types, if you will. And Pitta is really a time of transformation and creativity. So getting those time flowing, and that is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then the Vata time, which is from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., is another transformative time for you to be able to get a lot of your work done as well. But you should really be looking at, how am I opening my mind and body up between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and how am I winding myself down slowly but surely between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. I could talk all day just on this, but I would say waking up, we want to wake up between 2 and 6, not between 2 and 6 a.m., but by 6 a.m. In order to get some of that kapha time in the morning, whether it's even just like meditating for a little bit or getting our bodies moving. They say ideally, and then during the pitta time, starting to do some of that work, maybe exercising, getting your body going, and then getting your work done from there.
I like that, kind of slowly get into your day versus getting thrown into your day. So one thing I've noticed since we've been talking, and we did talk prior to this, so I'll be upfront. One thing I've noticed about you consistently is you got a lot of confidence, because I did the math earlier. She was like, I worked, but I grew into the company that fast, and then I transitioned, and it was in the height of the pandemic. I was like, that was only a couple years ago. So you're still very young, but yet you seem very confident and knowledgeable. So what would you say to entrepreneurs who feel like they're not super self-confident? Is there like, were you born this way, or did you develop this over time? Like, how can others be as confident as you?
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. I think confidence is a journey, not a destination, right? And I think that there's different areas that we have to cultivate confidence in every aspect of our lives. And there's always somewhere where we can use a little help, myself too. I would say that I was so far from confidence and did not even know it. And, I told you about Confidence Conversations and Confidence Daily and how I sort of founded that organization. But really, the name itself came from a conversation that I had with a girlfriend where she said, when was the last time you didn't feel confident? And I said, I can't even remember. And I was thinking about outward confidence. Am I confident about the things that I'm doing? Right? Like, and I was confident in my work. I was confident in, my appearance or other, physical aspects of life or material aspects of life, if you will, but had so far to go in terms of internal confidence. I was getting out of a pretty rough situation with the person that I had dated, and now just diving into the tail end of like learning and unpacking some of the things that I'd been through in childhood and didn't really understand the effect that those things had had on me. And so I realized that really I had a long way to go to be confident. And that really started the journey of like doing the deep work, the self work, to be able to identify, what is my inner imposter versus who is Jocelyn Michelle? What is my inner critic versus who is my true essence and my core? What are the labels that have been put on me versus who am I at my core? Who am I at my being? And remembering that you can do all of these great things. You can have all of this stuff. It does not matter. We're human beings, not human doings. And so who we are is a function of what's on the inside. It doesn't matter all of the, like what the world sees or what we see when we look at ourselves from an outward lens. It matters what's on the inside, and can I reconcile myself to myself?
That is amazing. Like, I feel like I'm listening to a philosopher. It is so cool. I was sitting here thinking to myself, one of the things that kind of resonates to me while you were talking is the idea of kind of being in alignment, because you're talking about not just you as an entrepreneur, right? You're a whole person. There are more aspects to you. So I love just kind of hearing you go through the mind, the body, the spirit, like all these parts together help you do what you do and be who you are. And of course, that trickles into impacting the lives of the people that you serve. And so what are your thoughts around kind of being in alignment with, a mission, right? So I work with all kinds of business owners, and they all, for me, to work with me, you have to have some type of want to impact the world in a positive way. So what are your thoughts on kind of finding your like alignment or being in alignment with your mission in life? And how does that really impact you as a business owner?
I think your vision is everything, and your mission is everything. If you're not clear about your vision, and when I say vision and mission, it's who you want to be. It's not the stuff that you want to do, because again, being and not doing. When you don't have that, you have no sense of direction, and you're willing to do anything for these tangibles. And so really having a true personal vision, who am I? What are my values? What do I believe in? And then how do I want to cultivate that spirit in the world? It's really important to get clear on that. Monetary, material things are great. It's nice to have stuff. We all like stuff. I like stuff, and that's fine. But if the stuff is the goal, one, it's like you are always going to feel unfulfilled or unsatisfied to some extent, because there's always more stuff to be had. And you can think of like different milestones you've had in your life where you're like, I just want this, or I want to make this much. And then you get there and it's like, okay, now I want this. Or like, what's the next goal? So being really grounded in not just the money or whatever that is, but like, how do you want to foster and bring that vision into the world, and how you're having impact is everything. And it keeps you grounded. It helps you have an infinite sense of gratitude for your life and where you are, because the fact of the matter is entrepreneurship is a hard journey sometimes. Like, it's not easy. And so being able to have peace in the present moment and know that, your business will ebb and it will flow, just like the stock market. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. Just like when they hook you up to like the EKG or whatever the monitor is, your heart's like up and it's down. And if you're stagnant, if you're straight through, you've flatlined, you're dead. And so your business is going to be the same thing. But like knowing that while you're in the trenches and like in the thick of it, I think is so grounding, because then you have everything that you need and that knowledge to be able to go forward.
Yes, I loved everything you said, because it's having a business is not a sprint. It's definitely a marathon. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. And if you go into it understanding that it's going to be a process, I think you're going to have a better chance of weathering the storm. Because a lot of people are like, I want to be entrepreneurs, and they're only thinking of the success, but they're not thinking of the day-to-day things that they have to do to get to the success. And so I love that we've kind of touched on different aspects of that in this conversation. So usually I ask about struggles on this podcast, but we've been having a good time with just the positive things. So instead of asking you, because because I was talking about like new entrepreneurs, instead of asking you like, okay, what are some things that they can avoid? I want to ask you, what are 3 things that they should do? Right? We talked a little bit about habits, alignment, all kind of things, but what are 3 things a new entrepreneur should do to help them move towards their goals as an entrepreneur?
This is a good question, and you put me on the spot. Okay, so what should we do? One, I think just getting really clear about your goals and specific about them. I like to use the SMART goals framework. So specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and timely. And making sure that you can outline all of those things for your goals. So specific, like you can say exactly what you want and then kind of getting to your why there of why you want it. Measurable, how do you account for success? Because if you don't have any way to like measure success objectively, it's hard to stay on track and have milestones, right? Actionable, is it something that you can actually do and take action on? And that's with help, without help, but like where you are right now, is it something that you can act on? Relevant, how does it go back to your why? Is it relevant to your life? Is it relevant to your own personal mission and values? And then timely, like let's put some time parameters around this thing. We're not like looking for, 10 years down the road, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe you are, but like, let's shrink that goal in terms of like yearly buckets or 6-month sprints to say, this is what I'm going to do in a 6-month period, which will ultimately get me down the road to do that larger thing. So getting really clear on SMART goals. 2, taking a break. We love to burn the midnight oil and feel like, if we're not hustling or doing something or selling ourselves, like we're not being productive. And rest is one of the greatest forms of productivity because it's your opportunity to pour into your own cup. And if you're not resting, you're more likely to face risk of burnout, as well as just when we're tired and we try to push through, our scope and our view of what we're doing becomes so focused and so limited, such that we're just trying to get that specific thing done, that specific task done. And when we rest, we're able to take that bigger bird's eye view and really look at, the overall implications of our actions, as well as how that's going to help us in the short term and downstream. So rest, please rest, fill your cup. And then 3, I would say collaborate over competing. I think it's really easy, especially when you're starting out, to get discouraged by the number of people who maybe in your field or specifically in your niche, and that spirit of lack mindset takes over, and you're thinking like, I can't possibly collaborate with this person because if I do, maybe I won't get the clients and they will, or whatever. There's power in numbers and we're better together. So collaborate, stop competing. There's more than enough for all of us.
Oh my God, those are gems right there. I feel like that's a mic drop. So we got the 3 things to do: goal setting using SMART goals, rest, which I need to do more of. And then I love the idea of collaboration. That's literally one of my words for the year. I said, I want to intentionally collaborate because I think sometimes we are like, okay, if somebody happens to get in my DMs, it's like, no, go out, seek those collaboration opportunities, because you always have room to grow. You always have room to learn, and you'll be surprised. Those collaborations lead to other things. I've been able to get on podcasts. I now am in the process of writing a book because I collaborated with editors. I've been able to get on different stages. Just the list goes on and on and on, just by being willing and open to collaborate. I think you were right when you said, a lot of people think they're competing, and it's like, no, what's for you is for you. And what, if somebody is seeing you next to somebody else and they're like, I'm gonna go with them, then that was the person that they needed to support at that time. But guess what? There's going to be somebody that's going to come along that's going to be that perfect person for you. And so I love that idea of just thinking collaboration, and definitely that over this idea of competing. I don't know if you even know, because we were just becoming friends, but one of our slogans here at IROC is I rock, you rock, we all rock. And it gives that same sense of, like we all can do this. And so even if you're listening right now and you've been liking me, you've been following me, guess what? If you like my guest and you think that she is your jam and you're like, hey, I want to work with her as my coach, I want you to reach out to her, because guess what? If she can help you move the needle in your business, if she can help you get your habits under control, get you some strategy and some branding and all the things, all the amazing things that she does in her business, and she'll be able to tell us about that in a moment before we go. But I want you to work with her, because if she is right for you, then hey, who am I to stop you? I want you to get what you need. And I think she's amazing. So hopefully you think she's amazing too. So before we go, just so that people know, let them know who you support, how, and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I love supporting, in terms of who I support all entrepreneurs. I love supporting my sisters. And a support can mean, buying products, sharing people's products on social media, doing interviews like this. Like, support comes in so many modalities. And so just being able to support other entrepreneurs is a passion of mine. But in terms of where you can find me, I'm on Instagram under Confidence Daily. So at Confidence Daily on Instagram. And you can find us on cultivatingconfidencedaily.com for all of our blogs, lifestyle tips, as well as ways that you can become more confident, whether it's in business, entrepreneurship, career, life, love, or finances. And then if you're looking for a coach, I have CoachedIT.com, where there's lots of different life and business coaches that you can connect with as well.
All right, awesome. And guys, if I know she said it kind of fast, don't worry, you don't have to freak out. I'm going to put that information in the show notes for you, because I want you to be sure to connect with her. Again, thank you so much for being on this podcast. You were just dropping the gems. I'm going to go back and listen to it myself and take some notes. So thank you so much. And guys, if you're listening to this and something that you heard resonated with you, I do invite you to listen to previously reported podcast episodes, along with the fact that we drop a new episode every single week. We will see you back here in these IROC streets. Talk to you guys soon.